Hello, everybody, and welcome to the stream scene. We've got an awesome episode for you guys today talking about IRL streaming. I'm joined here by my lovely co-host, the Hunter Wild. What's up, Hunter? How you doing?
Hello. I am doing. he's gonna get there eventually. I am purely fueled by caffeine right now. My sleep has been terrible. I feel like a lot of us can relate. But I'm super excited about today's show, as I am pretty much every time we do a show, but for very different reasons. IRL streaming is for a lot of us that are like. For a lot of us that have been on the platform for a long time, this is a very new space that many of us, myself included, have been really hesitant about moving into. We don't have a lot of the answers. We don't know how it could perform for us. We don't know what choices to make, like what kinds of things we might be interested in streaming. And so we have two immaculate, fantastic, beautiful, brilliant guests with us today to talk about a lot of these things so that we can get some of those answers. That is Vieparlafoi and Sequisha. How are you guys doing today? And who are you? Can you tell us a little bit about you? We'll start with Sequisha.
Hello.
He's shy. He's not used to this, so.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I'm streaming for a while. The focus of the stream isn't the IRL stuff for me, but it's been something that I poured a bit into to try to bring, that level of production. Yeah, I don't know. With the whole, built an IRL backpack, just like V. And I don't know. It's been fun to kind of mix things up a little bit. So I'm not just, sitting inside playing on the computer and kind of expanding a little bit. Right. But yeah, that's about it, I guess. I mean, there's more to it than that, but we only got so much time.
Diving into all that stuff. What about you, V?
Hi, I'm V, and I'm actually streaming this live from Paris, where I'm actually on a big IRL adventure. I've been doing IRL for 2 years, off and on, and I've finally made it more of a full-time thing as of lately, and trying to really push everything with the IRL. So I started when there was no IRL on Twitch, and I pushed for adventures using just my cell phone, and data was insane. So fast forward to today, I've got a backpack and I've been streaming the crazy long streams in Paris, and it's been incredible. So I'm really looking forward to talking IRL. I've built my backpack. I know everything there is to know about the bag, internet, all the things. So if you have a question, feel free to ask.
Heck yeah.
And we will be asking lots of questions because Hunter and Hunter, do you have IRL experience?
I have left my house a couple of times, but I never have streamed that. So it's minimal.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever done an IRL stream, nor have I even been on an IRL stream.
Ooh, I did Periscope like twice at conventions, like 3 years ago. Yeah.
I'm sure that was top quality.
It was miserably bad. Yeah. I was like in low light on a bench, and I was like, "Hey guys." It was real smart.
I've done that before. The Periscope, that was actually the first time I'd ever done that too. It had that weird thing where people were tapping hearts and hearts would just appear.
Yeah, and
like, what is that? Like, did I just get paid somehow?
Are these
I think I did one Periscope stream ever, but yeah, that was the thing on Twitter. I remember I was like, "What?
Yeah.
Yep."
And you also have Instagram Live too. That's really popular.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, so I've watched some IRL streams, and often I'll see people like passerbys come up and be like, "Are you on Instagram Live?" Like to those people instead of Twitch. I think for IRL streaming, I don't think Twitch is the most popular platform for that. I think Instagram might be.
I would agree there. I mean, I've done live on Instagram. It's super easy because you literally just push the live button and you're live. There's no like setup, no anything. I still don't quite understand it because they'll say people are in there and then they're not in there. And it's like, okay. I'm only just post to the stories and stuff and like to go live more on Twitch, but it is definitely another avenue to go on for.
Yeah.
I could see that being like, because Instagram's reach is just insane, like
yes.
everyone that's got a phone It's not a flip phone, probably has Instagram on it. I think it's probably easy to do that, but it's probably more like talking into a void, whereas like Twitch kind of has the engagement, I don't know, because of the whole rolling chat and, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Instagram Live does have a chat, but I could not imagine just following that on your phone. I've tuned into some Instagram live streams too to try to like see what it's about, and you see like a faded chat in the corner, but again, you're watching on your phone, so it's a little bit limited because I don't even know if Instagram has like do they have like a website where you can watch live streams? I don't think so, right?
I don't think so. No, Instagram, using it on the internet anyways is kind of hard on the computer if you've ever used it. It's not like computer friendly. It's literally just the app is the main thing. I still, no matter what, I think the Twitch streams, like seeing the streams and using the backpack, way better quality to using on Twitch and more interactive.
Yeah.
For sure. And so on Twitch, like, we started with the IRL channel, like that became a thing, and then it blew up, and then it's gotten split up now. How has that game changed? How has discoverability for IRL content changed in your guys' opinion?
In my opinion, personally, I don't like the split that they did. I love streaming under travel and outdoors, but the category is so far down and nobody will use it. Everybody uses just chatting, and it's filled with, no offense to anybody, there's a lot of junk in there too. So it stinks that like some of the good content that's out there is really hard to discover, because it's like, I don't want to be streaming under just chatting, but in order to have it viewed at all, travel and outdoors is way down there. So I think honestly, Twitch has kind of messed up the category with that, kind of like the creative stuff.
That's interesting. I mean, I wanted to dive into that, but Sequisha, I'm more interested in what you were going to say than my own.
I'm just agreeing. I think you're, going whatever direction you're going. I'm right there with you.
So what do you think Twitch should do to facilitate IRL streaming? Like, clearly Twitch is trying to get away from just gaming, but like they're not really separating gaming from non-gaming content. Like, how would you prefer IRL discoverability be done?
Well, I think maybe hashtags within the category would have been good, just like one still IRL category and hashtags, but it also needs to be moderated a lot better. And the unfortunate thing is when it came out, it wasn't moderated to begin with.
Yeah.
So there was just so much stuff in there. Same with, different categories they bring out when they had the eating, social eating and stuff. None of us moderated, or rules weren't set ahead of time. Therefore, it just went chaos from the beginning, and it's just a mass to, where people are putting porn on IRL and getting away with it. It's like, come on.
I imagine that a lot of this is, while we're on like a matter of issue and discoverability, a marketing thing, right? So I'm thinking about it twofold. One, if you were already familiar with Twitch beforehand, you were familiar with Twitch as a gaming platform. If you became familiar with Twitch after the fact, it's probably because of Ninja and similar big mainstream explosions, which are also oriented around gaming things. So when it comes to some of the specific subcategories, I imagine that with a shift in marketing and application of marketing by Amazon Twitch, that we would. And they're probably, I want to say that because they've been working on some of these expansions and subdivisions of categories, that they do want to move in that direction and provide some impetus for viewers to find it. I imagine that some marketing is coming down the pipeline. Just we haven't seen it yet. I would hope.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. In the meantime, I just hope my best. And, there's a lot of cool stuff out there, and hopefully it gets seen more.
Well, so now about the cool stuff that's out there, like so both of you made active choices instead of like stumbling into, I don't even know how you'd necessarily stumble into IRL. You made active choices to move in the direction of IRL content creation. What did you, well, you don't necessarily have to answer these particular questions, but like, what did you then and what do you now feel is the value of IRL? Like, why is it worth streaming and why is it worth watching? Like, what kinds of things are happening in this space? Are there unique connections being made for people who can't or don't leave their homes? You know, because that's a lot of us. Like, we're becoming more aware of and finding ourselves more insular socially. Where do you find the value of IRL?
Do you want me to? Yeah. Do you want to go?
You go ahead. All right, I'll go. It doesn't matter.
I think if you look at any IRL streams and like clips from them, which is generally like the clips and the viewership on them is going to give you an idea like what people, I guess, kind of like to get out of it. Normally, it's interactions with strangers in some way, shape, or form, or some type of like, you know, random element that enters the broadcast, or if it's like some crazy environment, you know, something new. You know, like I could be, you know, walking around streaming and like some random guy comes up, says something crazy, like people thought it was funny, you know, and there's clips of it and this, that, and the other thing. So yeah, I don't know, just the chance of something new and unforeseen coming. I think that's a big allure. I mean, aside from like some type of like, you know, just seeing new and interesting things. Like, you know, with V's like traveling and all, checking out all kinds of landmarks and crazy historic stuff, you know?
Yeah. V?
And for me, I've always had a community oriented channel. So for me, it's like, you know, things that we get to do together. And so before I was a flight attendant, so I love traveling the world. I've always loved to share my passions with my channel, and that's a big passion of mine. And not everybody can have the means, or not everybody has the means or may want to do certain things, but they can see it through your eyes and experience it with you. And that's so valuable. For example, when I was doing my New York streams, not everybody can handle the crowds of New York, but behind your screen, you get to experience what it's like going through New York through my eyes. Because I always, for one, I have it on like my point of view vision. That's the main thing I like to do, like to make you feel like you're there. And they get to experience it with you. They get to see your joy. Like for me, I have so much joy doing this. So and I do things kind of differently. You know, I go anywhere from hiking to enjoying a sunset to letting people enjoy the ambiance of something. So I think those experiences are invaluable for those who can't always get the means to do them. And you get to share them with your community. So you're not even necessarily doing it alone, but you're with a whole community. And I think there's so much value in that.
For sure. I mean, that's the magic of streaming, right? Is like we get to make these connections with streamers, you know, and vice versa, streamers with viewers, where it's a very intimate setting. You feel like you get to know that person, and then being able to, like, you know, you're like traveling with them and you're like going on experiences instead of just like sitting on your screen. It's like another level of interaction and like getting to know someone, right? It's like, it's kind of like seeing, like, if you saw like a celebrity in real life, you're like, oh, they're just a normal person too, and they're just walking about, kind of thing, right?
Now, what about the next level of immersion with it, where with the like full range camera and virtual reality immersion from like a point of view perspective, like going through New York or Paris?
I mean, I don't know. Have you ever done virtual reality and like your character or the camera was moving, but you weren't? Like, kind of like makes you feel a little sick.
Yeah.
Until you get used to it. Anyway.
A lot of people.
I remember I did that at TwitchCon playing at Sansar or whatever the game was. It was like, but the same people that made Second Life or whatever. And I was, they were like, here, we recommend clicking to move, but you can use the joystick. And I'm like, oh, sweet. I'm like, use the joystick. I'm like, whoa. Like,
yeah.
Like almost fell down like in the expo hall. But yeah.
I think it's also just the power of being with someone, like with the streamer, you know, not just by yourself too. And it's realistic. It's real. It's actually real instead of being in a virtual reality set.
Literally.
It's real, and you get to see so many different experiences. You're not just looking online to see the best of the best. You see all the nitty gritty of everything. Like today, for example, my chat, bikes with me. Like, we had so much trouble with the bike system today. Like, half the bikes we ran into were broken. They get to see what it's like in Paris to discover like, oh, bikes are broken. Oh, that sucks, and keep going on. But then they also get to see like the hidden gems. Like today we walked an abandoned railroad track for an hour and a half and just listening to the birds singing and seeing all this graffiti everywhere. It was just such a cool experience. And it felt so amazing to be able to share that with people.
Now,
like,
I think
share that with the world.
That particular part right there, like the couple of things that you just mentioned, for me, really sort of stand out. Like, a lot of us are never going to go to France, but you get a sense of, of course it's true, like this language that I'm using is weak, but you get a sense of what it's like without ever going there. In this case, you get to see that there is a public bike system and sort of what that's like in the good and the bad, and like how that's sort of set up. Like, I never would have known that had I not gone myself.
That a Huffy?
Where's the pegs? And how the rampant street art is in France as well. Like, it's everywhere, and some of it's beautiful and some of it's terrible. And you, without ever having an expectation for it, because, anybody's just sitting at home doing their normal stuff, suddenly you're in it, and you get, without leaving your chair, you're seeing all of these interesting things and putting together parts of the outer world thanks to somebody who's sharing it with you, who's taking you along with it in the moment.
Yeah, and it's also cool to interact. Like, for me, like, I always let chat, like, help pick things if they want to like be involved in it. So you involve them with it, which is also nice as well. So they get a sense of like being able to choose, or if they want to see something. Like the other day we saw the Inception Bridge. I played the music, we did the walk down.
For real?
It was just something fun to do.
That's awesome.
Cool.
I was actually going to ask, do you guys ever like resort to Twitch for help or advice or trying to get through a situation when you're doing an IRL stream?
Yeah, actually I can think of one right now that always sticks out. I think there's still a clip of it somewhere. I was doing, kind of going back, like the reason why that really kind of drew me to IRL streaming was I was playing Pokemon Go. So I was away from, the computer, and I was out playing, and I was like, man, I kind of want to like share this. I kind of want to like, talk with chat too, talk with people from the community. And I was doing it. I went out to some park, and I had two of the phones. Okay. So I'm like looking at chat on one, and I had notifications on the other with the backpack. And then I don't know, maybe like 10 minutes later, I'm like, wow, I'm like missing one of the phones. So we had to like go back, and someone took a clip of where they last saw the phone, and like it was back like randomly on the trail somewhere, like on the ground. So like, like we found it. It was like a very triumphant thing. It was
interesting,
very lucky
Wow.
that we found it.
I honestly had that same situation once, like something I left behind, and chat was able to find it.
Wow, that's awesome.
I think
it was just like my really nice water bottle, but still.
Yeah, backtracking.
But yeah, since I'm in France, I don't like I have some knowledge of French, but I have a lot of French speaker or people from France that have been in the stream, so they've recommended stuff. They've like helped if like someone's talked to me and I didn't quite understand what they were saying, like someone's translated it for me. So that was really cool too.
It's really handy to have like your own personal little live tour guide. That's really cool. So do you guys like, when you're doing IRL streaming, how much of it is like planning out what you're doing for the day, or like versus like impromptu, just whatever happens?
I want to know so much about this.
When I do bigger trips, like say this, it's mostly impromptu, because I don't want, for me, like that's the joy of traveling for me. That's the kind of traveler I am, because like you can find stuff, like if you want to stay longer, you find hidden gems and you go off the path to do something else. I love to do stuff like that, because that's how you find some of the really, really cool stuff. Like I plan something like I plan my Airbnb for Paris, but as far as like every day, we just go. We go and explore. You find something. Oh, this place looks amazing to eat. Let's eat there. We want to go on a railroad track today. Let's go there.
Yeah, instead of like, here's our schedule, here's our itinerary, we're going to hit this landmark and then go to this place for lunch. And
Exactly. When you have more time to plan it. But if it's like a half day and I'm going for a hike, then obviously like it's planned. Like, oh, we're gonna do this hike
Yeah.
today to stream. But like for Paris, like I have 2 weeks in Paris. We're just gonna explore and go.
Yeah. I think for me, I've kind of had to map out some of it, or just kind of plan like a very rough estimate, and then kind of go from there. Because like, first of all, I need to be like, you know, far enough away from home that I'm not like doxing myself, because people are weirdos. Some people.
God, yes.
And that too, like, you know, I have to like kind of make a change of scenery sometimes, because like if I'm like downtown doing something, there's always some random dude that's like, hey, I know where you're at. That's like right down the block from me. And it's just like, oh God, I gotta get out of here. I don't feel like decking somebody today, you know? Like, just kidding. But yeah, it's one of those weird things, you know?
Yeah. Do you guys ever have like viewers come up to you in the street?
One person actually came this last week. They came up and said hi. They saw where I was at. But generally, since I'm young and a female, I'm like, please do not come find me on stream. Like, I'm against that. Like, I'll do meetups at cons and I might do a France meetup, but generally, like, coming out, I'm like, please don't do that. If you randomly run into me and like you see I'm streaming, you ask about it, totally fine. But to come out and seek me out, I don't know. I don't like that. I think
That's
it's not
terrifying.
kosher.
That's kind of a spooky scenario. The
Every
type
time,
of, or it can. And like, even if somebody isn't like, you know, don't have ill will or whatever, it's just kind of like, you know, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just one of those weird things, because you
And
never
most
really
of them
know.
won't
People are nuts.
have ill will. But it's still on our side, right? It's always on anybody's side who's doing the creation and is out there. It's like it can easily fill you with terror, because you don't know what their intention is, and since anybody can move in that direction, it gets weird. So, okay, so what about the straight up the practicalities, hardware, from the lowest end to maybe not necessarily the highest end, but like, what's our spectrum here for what's available and worthwhile for actually creating an IRL stream? Like, minimum threshold, is that really acceptable? At what point do you upgrade?
I think if you're an area like in the US, or well, technically wherever you're from, and you're using your phone, like that's a good start. See if you like it first before you buy the major hardware. Like, experience it with your phone first. That's what I did. When I went overseas with my phone, that was another story, because it was hell. There was a lot of problems I ran into, data issues, all sorts of things. I did get some streams off, but for the most part, I was like, oh, this ended up just being more of a vacation, because the tech hours I put into trying to figure it all out was just a mess. When I got the backpack, I built the backpack last year. So I know the hardware in and out. I know the data. The data is the biggest issue. And I will tell you that right now. Data costs a lot of money. If you want to really have a solid stream, it is going to cost you a lot of money. Just for example, my international data for a month is $1,000. It is a lot, but my streams are smooth as frick right now. And I knew that going into this, what it was like beforehand. So I made the exception and I saved and I put it towards this so that I could have nothing go wrong. And
now, what about
will there still be problems? Yes, there will be for sure.
Do you have like a backup plan for it?
I mean, I have backup cords and a battery, and I have backup of everything. One of everything is what I always say to bring, just in case, because things will break, especially if you're using the backpack. When you're out and about, it will break. Things will mess up. It's not the easiest tech. Well, I will tell you that. For every hour I streamed, I probably put double into tech and figuring and servers and all sorts of stuff. But I know it inside and out now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I kind of ran into some of the same stuff. I mean, you kind of have to experience it, you know, like once at least, when you start like, you know, figuring out what these problems are and kind of how to circumvent them. Because, you know, as a streamer, whenever you run into tech issues, you don't ever want to run into it while you're live, you know, first of all. So anytime, anything you can do, well, at least for me, I'm sure a lot of people, anything I can do to prevent me from having to deal with a tech issue online is like always like super important, like on days off or afterwards to like nail it out. So I finally got something, the dream essentially. I could do a gaming stream, and then after that, if I wanted to go get food or go get a drink or something, I could literally throw it on like kind of a like an intermission type thing. You know, a buddy of mine put together like nice like intermission type thing, and then using a you know, then I can fire up the backpack and through a RTMP server, and then go live from my streaming computer, like without having to drop signal or like turn off the broadcast or anything. So and that took a lot of stuff to like figure all that out to get it working properly.
It's honestly a must. The RTMP server is great. I have the same thing. That way, if something happens in your backpack, I had that the other day. My backpack died because I streamed like 13 hours. And I put on the BRB screen and I ran home, grabbed my other battery, and then we were back in.
That's awesome. Holy crap.
That's amazing.
So like walk me through like the basic, well, not the basic. Walk me through your guys's IRL backpacks right now. What is behind all this?
Like what's in it?
Yeah. What's it made of?
I can show you actually. So this is the handy dandy battery. It's humongous and it weighs a crap ton. You ever carry that backpack around, you'll feel like a weightlifter after because carry it around for 17 hours, you'll feel great.
Unfortunately, you're familiar with this.
So this is a big this battery lasts about, I'll say it lasts about 12 hours.
That's pretty damn good.
That's really good.
That's with everything charged up already. Then it's like kind of like supplementing that power.
Charge it up every night. I also bring the charger with me, and if I sit down to eat, if I have a chance and there's a plug-in, I try to charge it as well just to give it some extra juice. Then the biggest thing that lets you stream is the live view unit. This thing is the most expensive part of the backpack. It's about $1,000 to $1,500 depending on if you get the one with SDI in it. But this is what allows you to stream and it look crisp and clean. It has 4 modems or 4 connections that you can use, 4 modems, and they bounce off each other to give you the best signal possible. So you can get up to 5,000-6,000 megabytes per second, which is a really strong stream.
Yeah, you can get even more than that on there too. Because I was playing between the Terra deck and that. The Terra deck, I think you can only tether 2 modem sources up to. Whereas in the live view, you can do 4. 2 of them will be like USB connections. One of them's through the Ethernet, and then one's on the Wi-Fi. So it's a pretty sturdy connection. I think I've been able to get up to like I don't know, like almost 10K bit rate out of it, which is like 8,500 for Twitch because they it's kind of the cap. But
I love this nerdy talk.
Yeah, we pretty much have the very similar setup. It's kind of like the gun runs backpack kind of like,
exactly.
Default. What was that thing on the front of your camera, by the way? Is that just a lens cover just to protect it, or is that
it's a lens cover, which it worked in handy today because I scaled a brick wall and then I scratched the front of it. I was like, oh, good thing it wasn't the camera lens.
Oh, wow.
Right. No, that would suck because it doesn't really come off. You have to like get a new one.
Buff it out.
No.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, take some 1,000 grit sandpaper and hope it works out.
Yeah, no, the cover is great. I discovered that when I was at TwitchCon, and they had it and they gave me one. So I was like, well, this is thankful that I had this today because the bottom part of it's all scuffed up. I'm like, all right, good. That's not on the lens part. So
so are there any of the parts that go into the setup?
Like critical elements?
There's cords that you plug in, having good cords, a camera. The camera has the mic. The other thing I would recommend for your camera is having a little wind thingamabobber on it. I can't remember the name of it, but the little wind jammer. Because, if you're in loud places, it makes a difference.
Try it for the mic?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you're not using like a tacked on mic. You're using actually the camera mic itself.
Yeah, I haven't upgraded to anything crazier than this because I'm so mobile with mine and I do stuff. Like, I'm not going to scale a wall with $1,000 camera. I'm not going to wake surf with $1,000 camera. So because I do stuff like snowboarding and active streams and I'm biking and all the things, this works for me.
So the thing she's talking about is this on here. And if you look at it, I'll get it to focus on it so you can see, kind of.
Yeah.
But it's like this little.
Oh yeah.
And it was funny because I had this. It's over my shoulder, right? And then someone's like, "Oh wow, even your camera's got a mustache." Like, I guess it kind of does look like that.
Oh, perfect.
Intentional.
Yeah. I will say though, we did a fireworks stream last year, which ended up being really pretty. And because we were stationary, we did use a nicer camera for that and a wind guard. Sometimes that can be kind of challenging to set up and takes a little while to set up. I like this one because it's easy. And for the most part, it doesn't give any problems. And it does have a nice zoom in feature. The one thing you have to be aware of though is these cords. Sometimes they can be a pain in the butt and you'll go through a lot of cords. They move, you can tape them down. That'll just be like trial and error what works for you. I'm still finding out what works for me for that.
Yeah. So now what about with the starting stuff? So we were talking about like just using your camera, which was a nice, your phone, which does 8 million things, including the camera. And it was a nice introduction of the feature, which I've never used and I'm completely unfamiliar with, but by Twitch through the app, right? That you can broadcast directly from your phone, just sort of natively?
Well, I was using the Streamlabs app because that had your notifications built into it.
That's nice. Yeah.
But because of like your phone doing the encoding through it, I don't know, the way it was like written in the app, like your phone would get mega hot. Like super hot. And plus if you're charging it too, because it sucks the battery, yeah, that's just one of those things. Like the phone would get so hot, it was hot to the touch. Like I would like burn myself probably if I stuck it like on my wrist or some really sensitive skin, you know? Yeah.
That's really useful information. So, so that's another quality too, is like your alerts and reading chat and doing all the streaming at the same time, trying to do that from your phone. You obviously run into this hazard. Is there any relevant additional equipment that you could think of? Like, do you want to plug in a microphone to that headset mic? Anything that adds value?
I used to use a gimbal for my phone.
Nice,
but with the newer phones, they have the stabilization sometimes, so you could probably just use a selfie stick. But you know, a stick or like the gimbal worked out. But with the gimbal with the iPhones, it wasn't very friendly. I had to get attachments and do like, you know, you couldn't plug in too much stuff. You had to get like the double plug-in, and then that didn't want to work as the attachment. So I had a challenge with it. I would say, you know, double phone, you know, if you want to look at your alerts on one, stream on one.
Yeah, double phone. There's some too. You can, like these little wristband things. Let me see if I've got one. I think I do actually. Oh yeah, here. So you can put it on and it doesn't work all the time. This one's actually a really good one. I haven't gotten to try it yet, but it's got these little stretchy little on the outside where it'll stretch around any phone. I think I even saw in an ad like somebody put like an iPad on.
What?
Full scale.
Yeah, because it's like really stretchy. So that would, and also it spins around too. So you know, you don't have to like turn your arm sideways to be able to.
Yes,
I haven't used this yet, but soon, I guess. Probably.
So that's for putting a phone on your in order to like read stuff.
Yeah, that'd be ideal for like reading chat or seeing some type of notifications or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to free up a hand, especially if you're doing like one of these numbers. There's also with a stick, the selfie stick thing. I think there's something that can mount to it, an attachment, like so you can put a phone on that. So if you're pointing it at you, you can be looking at a phone that's like part of the, you know, the device, the selfie stick that you're holding. So.
And I guess another factor here that is important to note because of how easy it is to surprise people with it is, as strong as you think you are, you can easily get worn out just holding up a phone like this for like 30 minutes. Maybe give that a shot too before actually creating a stream and see what it actually feels like to hold up a phone or hold up a selfie stick that has a phone on the end or whatever it happens to be.
Attachments, like a bell attachment or something that you can rest the stick off of.
A backpack that just has an extension off of it that's like...
Yeah.
There's actually, because I was looking into a lot of this stuff too. I was thinking about getting one of those like there's like not like a tack vest or whatever. I have one of those, but like a fisherman's vest or something like that to like hold some of the stuff might be a little kind of helpful.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you. I'll ask her when she gets back. Because the backpack that is part of the whole thing now is one of these right here. Is a well, this is the one that I'm using. It's a God, what is it called?
Oh, she just got a new one.
Oh, okay, yeah. Manfred.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna ask you what backpack you're using.
I use that same backpack, but
Yeah.
I ran into, I will tell you, after 4 or 5 hours, like my shoulders are dead. And I still lasted 17 hours, but it's like, it's heavy. I mean, I'm athletic. I'm super athletic, and it's heavy for me after some time. But Live, you gave me this backpack to try, which I haven't set it up. And it's like one strap. I don't know how it's going to work yet, so I haven't configured it out. So I'm going to try it. But my thing is I'm trying to do lighter stuff. There's this, but obviously I'll have to find a new way for carrying the stuff. But it gives you a little bit of support more, and you wear this kind of like a vest. So I was thinking to put that, because I'm also trying to find ways to make it less, what's the word? Less
clammy.
This is the absolute most we've ever had guests come on and off camera.
I like how they're just more and more stuff piling up.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna be buried.
Well, yeah, gotta show the chat everything that's involved in this.
Well,
I just noticed this. They're like constantly getting stuff.
One of the things I noticed about like that Manfrotto backpack is especially like, when it's hot out, my back would get crazy hot and clammy. Like it was just like, because it was just, you have the battery heat and then everything else, just having a backpack anyway. So I got one of these. I haven't hooked it up yet. It's one of the Osprey backpack that has like the little breathable system back there, because it has like the 4 points of contact. Yep. So the only problem is that Live View encoder has to be like in a mesh pocket or something where it can breathe.
Exactly.
But I got some mesh material too that I'm gonna like sew onto it and attach to it somewhere, so it's secure at least. But I don't know.
That mobility portion is absolutely vital. And it's like with IRL streaming, you'd learn it at the same rate that you do as a backpacker. You only need to go out once or twice to go, I'm never doing this again without having like that mesh material back there in like some space.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even my modems get hot too. Like some modems will get really hot, some are like okay. But this is the thing I was talking about, that it's like, it's for the smaller setup. It's more of a mobile one if you can't, because you can't take the backpack in everywhere either, which I've run into in France. So I'm trying to fix it to where I can put it here and I'll wear like a purse that'll hold the stuff. But it's just things I'm messing with still.
Yeah. I mean, the cool thing about IRL is it's so new, and like the technology is so new. It's going to change drastically in the next few years, and hopefully get more compact and easier.
Yeah. I would love to get an IRL fanny pack.
Yeah. Like
eventually,
the less pressure on your shoulders, the better for sure. I mean, I've run into that. So I started putting my backpack, like I've been biking a lot. So I started putting the backpack and giving everybody a point of view of the backpack from the bike.
Oh, like putting it in the basket or something?
In the basket.
Oh,
they ride in the basket.
like a little dog. Like a just like,
or I'll wear it. I'll wear it on the front sometimes and kind of hold it as I'm walking. But there's just different things you can do. I mean, it's you kind of deal with it. I dealt with it for a long time wearing it. I'm like, oh, this is sore, but you know what? Whatever. I'm cool.
So now with your guys' backpacks, how do you read chat? Do you still use your phone now?
The phone.
Okay.
The alerts are the hardest thing for me, because I know like there's another phone you can use that you can split the screen, but with the iPhone, I still haven't discovered that. So chat usually tells me what the alerts say. I have my alerts that can pop up because I have a server, which is really nice. So they can hear the alerts still. So it's no different.
It's great. Just
for me, I can't hear it as much.
Gotcha.
And so this does seem critical to you guys, right? The RTMP server.
Yeah.
I feel like it is. It's not like a necessity. Like
it's not a literal necessity.
If the only way you can do it is you just stream, I still say stream. But, you know, it's kind of a nicety to have a server. They have them for sale, so it's really easy setup. That was too expensive for me, so I actually had a friend that helped out with a server. So if you know people with servers, it's helpful. You know, you still go through troubleshooting as with everything. So in my opinion, it's always good to learn the tech. Learn the tech, learn your bag. You know, you can buy a built backpack, but there's no reason you can't build it yourself. I built it on stream and showed people how to build it. It's not that hard. And knowing everything behind your backpack and knowing how it all works, so if something goes wrong, is vital in my opinion.
IT person, and if somebody hands you tech and you don't know how it works, what do you do when it breaks?
When it breaks,
You've got nothing.
Yeah, and having to rely on, you want to rely as least amount as you can on others and be able to fix it and troubleshoot it yourself.
Right. V, you know what actually was my biggest barrier in setting up the RTMP thing? You know, when you go into the live view settings, like you have to go into the browser to set it up. I didn't know that the stream name, like, you know, in the settings, you have like, hey, what's the IP, this stream name? Stream name was actually the stream key. And and just, I don't know, it was because it was labeled weird. So that
they don't tell you that. It's things you learn.
Yeah. So that's one of you, if anyone else gets a live view. Stream name means your stream key. So
I will forget that and I will DM you and
I think I'm gonna need to make a guide for this online.
For
just
sure.
a little itty bitty things.
What types of content are we looking at here? Like, what kinds of things because you know, a lot of us when it can easily find creative blocks, especially when we've been streaming for a long time, whether it's been successful or less so, we tend to get into, you know, a little bit of a rut in our thinking of what's possible. So I'm wondering if you guys have anything that could fuel that for a lot of us. What kinds of things can we be thinking about that we can get out and stream? I mean, just basic stuff, but also maybe some more interesting things. And just in terms of type.
First of all, start with your passions. What do you enjoy doing? Go out and stream that. Go out and stream whatever you like to do. For me, wake surfing, snowboarding, hiking were all big ones for me. So all active things for me. But you could even stream going to eat. You know, there's those shows where they go and eat at restaurants and critique food. Like, if that's what you like to do,
I would love to do
it.
that.
That's actually something on my list of things I want to do still, is like go to actual restaurants, set it up to where I could be like Guy Fieri or whatever, and like go in and like cook with them and do all this stuff. And I've actually streamed a cooking class before, and it was really fun. You know, whatever you like to do, I say start there, because honestly, and I've done this before, when you stream stuff you love, your chat notices that, they enjoy it more, you enjoy it more. If you're doing stuff you don't like, it's not going to be as fun to watch.
Yeah, if you're not big on hiking or whatever, you probably shouldn't end up getting lost in the mountains somewhere.
Probably.
Although that might make for good clips, it probably wouldn't be like, you know, good in the end, I guess.
Yeah, it could honestly be anything and everything. It's up to you whether you want to stream it on yourself, your point of view. I like to do the point of view mostly, basically because I like to make it like you're seeing things through my eyes. And plus, if you're just looking at me, I may as well just be in front of a computer if you're just looking at me the entire time.
So I've got a question for you guys. What is the wildest thing you've done IRL streaming, or that you want to do while IRL streaming?
I still want to skydive.
Skydive? Yeah.
Oh,
that'd be rad. If you can keep a solid connection through that, I don't even know.
Yeah, the connection is the problem while you're up there.
I don't know. Skydiving would be awesome. One thing I wanted to do, like if I go to like Disney World again sometime soon, try to sneak the backpack onto some of the roller coasters, or and like that'd be pretty neat, I think.
Yeah, I think you have to slim it down to like a fanny pack or something for that to work.
Exactly why I was working on this setup, because I wanted to go to Disney World and stream it.
That'd be so much fun.
Honestly, the thing I really want to stream is I want to stream a Spartan race with it on.
Yes!
A Spartan race is my goal for this year. If as fit as I want to be for it. And then it would be really cool to do something, and I don't think the internet's good enough for this, but like something like not Mount Everest, but like the base camp of Mount Everest or somewhere really crazy, you know? My thing is I want to take it where internet unfortunately doesn't quite go
Yeah,
yet.
right. That's yeah. That is an issue.
One thing that I've thought about that I kind of want to do is like say if I end up doing like playing more live music, doing it from like the stage perspective and try to get the audio mix like from the board somehow patched into it too. I think that'd be pretty rad.
Ooh.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, to, like have it from like up on stage, like near the drummer's legs or something, and everyone else, and like seeing like the crowd from. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, or like your shoulder as you're playing, and it's like the viewers are playing in front of the crowd. Like,
Yep.
And that'd be
play
really
guitar.
cool to change.
That's what I'm
It'd be
thinking.
really cool to change it from perspective too, from each like
have a couple
area.
Cameras.
Have a
and
couple of cameras set up. Yeah.
Need like a production team to like switch between them.
Oh, sweet heavens!
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you do have the RTMP server up, you just need somebody else who can access that to change your stuff around, or can access wherever your OBS is outputting.
The other thing, I think the craziest thing I've done is probably wake surfing, snowboarding streams. I would love to do scuba diving streams eventually too.
That would be
I know.
cool.
Like, how does the internet work like underwater? I mean, in terms of
apparently there is tech that can do stuff like that with the wireless cams, but it's just like I'm about to do my research for that one after this trip.
I need that phrasing. How does the internet work underwater?
It almost sounds like how do magnets work or whatever. It kind of sounds like that. Like how they ring to it.
As soon as I heard it, it was like, wait. That is interesting.
Yeah. So we do have some questions, and if you guys have any questions for the panel about IRL streaming, feel free to throw them in chat. We'll try to answer what we can. Our first question comes from Lampmaster5K. Do you ever bring an extra person while IRL just to have someone help you in case you have a weird encounter or tech issues or just having
Such
a buddy?
Great question. And with conversation stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of considerations you can have for that.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say we both always have like hired security like kind of following us anyway. So
Armed security.
yeah. You can go ahead.
I've done IRL streams last Thanksgiving, and last Thanksgiving I was in New York, so I was streaming a lot with another person, and so that was really nice. That was really helpful. It's nice to have commentary with another person, and if somebody has to do something or take care of something, it does help a lot. But the reality, unfortunately, is like I travel mostly by myself. I'm at home. I live alone. So, I don't want to always have to wait for somebody to do stuff like that. And then also, as I'm traveling, I get to kind of like, also take care of what I want to take care of and not have to worry about another person. So there's benefits to both for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, having someone else on the trip is kind of like I don't know. I haven't personally had like a stream mate or whatever, but I mean, most of the ones that do well, some of the ones that do really well generally is like a small group of people because they can always kind of bounce something off. It's not just you. Like, okay, out in the wild, let's see what happens. So, there's always something else to kind of ping ideas off of and a little bit of
banter.
Yeah.
Find your partner at streammate.com, guys. Coming soon.
Streammate.com.
Find your one and only.
I think it could help for sure. For me, it doesn't bother me to have quiet moments on my stream because for me, a lot of when I do IRL, like if I'm watching a sunset or something, I love to share that ambiance. And sometimes that means having quiet moments and not talking as much so you could hear what's going on and really feel like you're immersed. So for me, it doesn't bother me too much at all.
Yeah.
So it just depends. I think it's just dependent on style of specific people.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can't help but think that it would be always of value in terms somewhere down the line to have somebody with you. Always thinking back to the privacy elements, and you know where people can come out and find you, whether you have one viewer in your stream or 10,000, and you know even when that's never going to happen for a lot of people, realistically, you feel better about it. You feel more comfortable, and that allows you to put on a better show, as opposed to the "did you hear that?" kind of a thing that I know I would be doing. You know, if I'm out at night and like sort of feeling this concern for safety, which I think is fair in, you know, in 2019, as it has been for thousands of years. You know, never know what's going to happen, and feeling comfortable in your own skin while you're out and about in the world, I think, is very valuable.
I would agree. So I guess I'm just fearless. Mm-hmm. But I think for a lot of people, the value is very important for.
Yeah, so I think if you can, it's not a bad idea to think about bringing out a friend or somebody.
Yeah,
I definitely think it. I definitely do see the value in it. If I had somebody who wanted to travel the world with me all the time, then that'd be great. But
yeah, right. That also maybe doubles the cost of going anywhere.
So you were a flight attendant, right?
I was before this, so I'm used to traveling on my own too. Yeah, so I've traveled all over, and
I bet you were first class.
What?
You were the first class gal.
No, we didn't have first class, but I was definitely F1 most of the time. Yes, doing the announcements and greeting everybody in and out of the plane for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I miss it. I loved it. It was such a great experience to meet and travel and all the things.
I don't know, like if I could do something like that, because I feel like the pressure in the cabin really kind of messes with my, like the pressure of my head, you know, like it gets like I have to like, you know, like do like weird stuff to relieve, like, you know, like I feel like my ears, like sometimes they won't pop after getting off a plane, and then they finally do, and I can hear like backwards through time, and it's like the most like mind warping thing.
Yeah, luckily I've never had too much of a problem with that, but for sure, I mean, it does take its toll on you. Like people who have worked in that industry a really long time, it takes its toll for sure. My sleep schedule, my sleeping habits are a lot harder than they were before being a flight attendant.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that for so long. I know this is a little bit off topic, but I checked out from a grocery store yesterday, and the guy on his tag, it tells you how long they've been there. This cat was there, had been at that store apparently, or with that company since 1988. And I'm just thinking, like, what? I'm like, man, this guy's gotta like be close to retirement
as
or
long
something.
as we've been alive.
Right.
Longer.
Right. That's kind of crazy. It's like been friendly servant since 19, and he was super nice, like really nice guy. I hope he's close to retirement or something.
I'm on stream and I'm like, I've been streaming since 2014.
I feel like if you worked in a place that long, you know every single like bit of information about that store, where every single thing is located, like the GPS of everything in that store.
No doubt.
Gosh.
I mean, it's like your home.
Yeah.
All right. So one thing that was immediately that was a topic of conversation right after and continues to be so right after IRL became a thing, is tied into what ConkyDong64 asked, as well as the follow-up one that's missing.
Yes. Bilali, the one Bilali asked.
What?
The one that Bilali asked.
Oh, okay. It's related to etiquette, and when it comes to streaming out in the world, most of the time that you're streaming, you're not alone. You know, you're not out in the woods, glamping or something solo. You're out in the world where other people occupy it as well, and they are just living their lives, just walking down the street, just shopping, just eating their food, and become unwitting elements of your stream that you're producing and putting out into, you know, your own particular space, what kinds of etiquette issues exist there? What is like a best practices in terms of behavior and considerations for that kind of stuff?
I always, when I say like I'm going up to pay for something, most of the time I try to turn the camera unless they're cool with it.
So it's not like...
Same if I get into it. Yeah, if I get into an Uber, I ask permission first.
I saw that today.
Just to make sure they're okay with it. But I also let them know, hey, it's going to be facing the other way, not towards you, just to make sure they're okay with it. Sometimes people jump in the camera and they just want to be on it and they're like cool with it. It's like, okay, fine. But you know, there's not a lot. There's not a lot you can do when you're walking around. Like if somebody happens to get in the view, like that's like not too big of a deal in my opinion.
Sure.
You know, if somebody's like, please no camera, and then I turn it away. But if I'm like in a restaurant, I ask to sit like somewhere where it's like more private or like it's not facing any of the patrons, or like, you know, if somebody comes up and asks me, then of course I'm more than willing. But I don't try to invade on people. I don't go up to people randomly and just like have the camera in their face. I've never been like that. I know there are IRL streamers like that. Not cool. I don't like that. I don't do it.
Yeah, I think it's as long as like you're trying to make it seem, you know, like you're not like going out of your way to like film somebody. Like I'll try to do the same. I mean, it's kind of hard when it's on your shoulder sometimes, you know. I'll try to like kind of like look towards other things, especially when people are just like, what's going on? What's you got on his shoulder?
What's you got?
I try to, just try not to shove it in people's face, or try to make an attempt to like, you know, keep people out of frame if you can. It's kind of nice, but I don't know, that kind of stuff. Sometimes you're gonna run into people that are like, yo man, get me off that camera, man. And it's just like, it's like, all right, I'm going the other way now.
Sure.
Yeah, and if you go into places, like I'll ask sometimes, unless it's like not a big deal. And then if they ask you to leave or say no filming here, then it's fine, not a big deal. You just leave.
Question is, are there places that don't allow you in? And
there are.
Are there specific types, or is this sort of on like an
like
establishment by establishment basis?
Holy places, I would say, in Europe are big on not having it. Like you can go into churches, but if it's like a holy place, I believe, or a place where there's like something going on, then usually not. And then a lot of museums won't let you have it either. It just depends though. Sometimes I think it's just the backpack per se. Like on the Eiffel Tower, you can have the backpack, which is why I'm trying to rig the side thing for it.
Okay. And so I imagine when it comes to museums and places like that, there's always somebody at the front. There's a desk. You walk in and you can just ask. So you don't have to be worried about being surprised 30 minutes into your endeavor when somebody's like, get out of here with that backpack.
Actually, I had that issue 2 days ago.
Really?
And, everybody saw the camera, went through security, went through buying my ticket, and then I go into the place. The first room's fine. The second room, she's like, no camera. I was like, oh, okay, well, can I just have a refund so I can come back another day without the camera? Huge issue. I was super nice about it, but they were total jerks. And I actually left probably crying. Like, they were just really mean to me.
Yeah.
Only bad experience I've had with the camera, but it was just like, they would not give me a refund. They were not understanding at all. And it was just a not great experience. Luckily, it was only 15 euros down the drain, but still, it was like, really?
What was it?
What?
What was the establishment?
Gosh, I don't know if my chat, I know some of them are in here. They could tell the place, but it was like some palace or something.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they were not cool with it. So I was like, okay, that's cool.
That did seem to be uniquely French in my experience. Was being expected to know the things. It's like they know it. Everybody else in this room knows it. I don't know it because I'm not from here. And
yeah, I just
like,
didn't know, and nobody
know.
said anything till I got after I bought the ticket. Like if they thought on, like they sort of
got
said,
another
no.
one. Cha-ching.
Pretty much. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, but otherwise, usually, yeah, at the front they tell you, and then you can find that out before you go in.
Yeah, and
usually I generally ask that anyway.
Right. So Glam Shatterskull asks if it's better to rent stuff for part-time IRL or should you like right off the bat be looking at like, I need to design or look at a build, budget it out, save up the money, and then go for it? Is this the kind of thing? And we talked about this a little bit earlier in regard to like, make sure that you know that you want to do IRL streaming. You get a sense of it because it's just like free and free-ish and easy enough to just do it from your phone to get that initial sense. But what about after you decide that you want to? Maybe try to find specific events once a month and try and rent something out to go out with that and see what the next step is like before building it.
I mean, yeah, I would recommend some people maybe try to rent something like it first, but the biggest thing is the data. And, you know, if you're doing global stuff like VIA is, you know, you're probably going to need something. Well, if you don't want to run into tech issues, something that's got good headroom and coverage everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I imagine she has 4 of the big boy, you know, plans hooked up to that thing, more than likely. But if you're just streaming from like whatever local area there, you know, you might be able to figure out some really good local plans where you're going to get good data. But yeah, data is definitely probably the biggest like cost.
Like I'd probably want to start with like the Portland market, you know, and just like I'd go out there and
get
it's
a couple
easy,
sims,
like right over there.
Yeah.
You don't even have to, if you're doing something local like that, that's not in an area where coverage would be bad. You don't honestly need 4 modems all the time. Like I was working with 2 the other day. I was working with 2 the other day and working pretty good. There were some areas that made a difference. And like, obviously, you know, 2 of my modems that were working were just the little like plug-in ones. So I couldn't like connect my phone and other things to it. So having the bigger modems in action are good because like I said, it bounces off each other. So in different areas, one might work better than the others. So having the 4 stable connections is great. But if you're in a really populated public area or like open area, it's probably not entirely needed. I just didn't want to run into any problem.
Totally with you on that. And if I can afford it, that's exactly what I would be doing.
Yeah. So this was the alternative. But when I was in Portland, I was just using 2 modems too. But I would say like it depends on how much you're gonna IRL stream. If you're gonna IRL stream a lot, I say build the backpack because honestly, the renting costs, like for me, like I was like I would rather just build the backpack because you rent it. But if you're only if you can afford it, I think it's like $450 for I don't know how long you even rent it for, maybe a week.
I have no idea.
In my opinion,
data too. That's probably for the data as well.
I think it's with the data as well, but like I said, depending on what you're using data-wise, there are cheaper options. Like I have a modem from Verizon and it only has so many gigabytes, but if you're only streaming once a month, that's enough.
Yeah, sure.
So where would you even rent it from? Or
you rent it from the unlimited IRL or / live or unlimited IRL sells it. And
Gunrun does too, right? Gunrun.
Actually, his company
has a website where you can build it, but yeah, I think they work in conjunction with each other.
Okay. Cool.
There's.
But don't be.
Sorry, you go.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, as far as like the modems go too, there was at one point where I was using just one modem plugged in, and I had the other one tethered to my phone, like as a hotspot for the Wi-Fi. So that can work too in a pinch.
Yeah, you can use your Wi-Fi. You could also, if there's a place you're going to that has Wi-Fi, you can plug into their Wi-Fi as well because there is a Wi-Fi port on it. But the biggest thing is if you want to build a backpack and you don't want to just buy it pre-made, I say build it. It's not as hard as you think. There's a lot of guides online. Yeah, there's a lot of people with the backpack.
If you're going to be doing this as like a hardcore hobby or professionally, pre-built stuff is great once you know what you're doing. And connected with a sponsor or just wanting to not have to deal with that. If you know how stuff functions, fine, but you definitely need that kind of experience because you're invariably going to have to troubleshoot. And doing that in the field or when you're having a really fantastic like event or a stream or something, it's just crippling. Do that work ahead of time to get the wisdom and experience and lay that groundwork for your IT that's going to happen next week or next year.
Exactly. And it literally only took me maybe an hour or 2 to put it all together.
Oh, dang.
I mean, granted, longer to...
yeah.
It won't take you about 8. I swear, it'll take you way less time.
I'll be getting your help when I do it. So
Exactly.
It's a little bit easier for me.
Yeah, we'll trade. I'll help you build the backpack. You make one of those fantastic, delicious meals of yours.
That's the perfect tag team. Absolutely.
Any other last bit of advice that you want to give about IRL streaming?
Try it. It's amazing and I love it. And it might not be for you, but at least, if you really want to try it and you need a change of pace, don't be afraid to do it. Start with stuff that you love. If it's something you love, do it. Make the effort. Use your phone first though. Like I say, it's like with streaming. Start with the low amount of tech first, then work your way up. See if you love it first. Because if you buy the backpack and you don't love streaming, what a waste.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, and you're probably not going to find somebody on Craigslist that's going to want to buy that out in like Podunk, wherever.
Yeah. Just take it off your hands. No big deal.
Yeah,
However, if you don't IRL stream, I still say get out there sometimes, move around, because it's important not to just sit in the computer all day, every day, all the time.
Couldn't agree.
Get out, get some fresh air once in a while.
Yep.
Sequisha, any last bit of advice about IRL streaming?
I mean, you definitely need a way, like if you can do it from one phone with the Streamlabs app. I had good luck with it from one phone. Like, it was probably, actually, I don't even know if it's available on iPhone. I imagine it would be. It probably is. But maybe not. Because I know at first there was an IRL stream thing that was only on Apple, only on the iPhones. And then, because I always used Android, Streamlabs app was the one that worked on that. And it got super hot. But I think one of the most important things is make sure you're still able to kind of, find a way to engage with chat is still pretty important. So if you're just streaming whatever and screaming your experience out into the void without any reciprocation, it may not go that well. People would be like, "Hey, so where are we going today?" He's not reading my messages. Okay. I might just go elsewhere.
I like how that's your Twitch chat voice.
Yeah.
That is what Twitch chat sounds like if you're tuned into the frequency.
So yeah, just be sure you think about these things, whatever problems you might run into. Make sure you've got good power supply with you. Hydration is super important. You don't want to get a kidney stone this summer, running around drinking a bunch of Red Bulls out in the sun or something.
You don't know me, Sequisha. Maybe I do.
IRL stream it, in the hospital. Surgery.
Okay.
Somebody asked about gigabyte or data usage for a stream.
Mm-hmm.
I will say if you stream I could tell you one of my modems right now, and it's only been working a couple days, has already gone through 8,000 megabytes just for one of the modems.
What, 8,000? Oh, right, 8 gigs of it. Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts.
So I would easily say if you're probably bouncing off one modem, you'll use for 1 hour. It's hard to say for 1 hour, but I'd say at least 1 or 2 gigabytes of data at least. So just plan that it's a lot. It burns your data very quickly,
well,
which is why I have unlimited. Yeah, and the other thing you'll run into is that some things will be data capped. So the modems I'm using are not data capped for the month, which is why they're so expensive. Because data these days, it's really hard to get a non-data capped plan.
And I know that I would be too dumb to run the math properly, and I'd be going at I'd expect a quarter of what I'm actually going to use, and I'd be out there, and then suddenly it's all cut off, and I'm like, no, but I'm in the middle of my trip.
Yeah, or it'll go down to you have unlimited, but you hit your data cap, so enjoy the slow internet that everyone else does.
I know. Yep.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up there, guys. Sequisha, V, thank you guys for joining us on this
Thank you for inviting
awesome
us.
episode.
Freely
thank you.
appreciate
It's
this. This is
great.
fantastic.
Let's do some shout outs. So, V, where can we find you, and what are you up to?
Well, I'm everything at Vieparlafoi, Vieparlafoi. French name. I'm not French, no. And I am in Paris right now. So I've been streaming every day from Paris, and I'm going to be in Europe for longer. So I pretty much am IRL streaming every day, all the time right now. I'm playing VODs on my channel when I'm not live, but usually I'm live about 1 to 2 a.m. Pacific Standard Time right now, which is about 10, 11 a.m. Paris time. And I'm streaming literally up until sunset and sometimes beyond. So you can catch me pretty much all week, all the time,
That's awesome.
at some point on my channel.
That's awesome. Sequisha, what about you?
Me, normally I'm found. There's going to be a lot more IRL streams from me now that I've got all the tech worked out. I did a lot of them last year, the year previous to that, a little bit here and there too. Especially while I was in Cologne, I guess, for Gamescom 2017. That was actually, I think that was the first time I ever did a IRL stream, I believe.
Really?
It was because I was traveling. I was like, I want to share this,
Sure,
whatever.
let's do this.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm normally found hovering my cursor over enemy players' heads and hitting left mouse button. I like taking long walks off of short piers. I don't know. But yeah, no, I normally play video games, first person shooters, survival, and all kinds of stuff like that. And there'll probably be a lot more IRL coming up. Probably
That's
a lot more Pokemon Go and me getting wasted. And I'm just just going out and having like a beer too, and like all the silly people that come up to me. There was one popular clip where a woman saw me streaming and she came up and, she thought she recognized me. And then like, I don't know, I ended up telling her like I did like porn or whatever. She was like, oh yeah, I've seen it. Like it was joke, right? Like, I don't know. So yeah, it was kind of.
So this is the kind of stuff that's tied into your head when you're like, yeah, and you get out in the world and you have some crazy experiences just talking to random people. Those are the stories that you are collecting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, those are the clips, baby.
Yeah.
Speaking of stories, I got trolled super hard by a little girl the other day that I didn't see. She was, oh gosh, if I have somebody who has the clip, maybe they can put it in chat. But literally, I went to spin this thing to read, and this little girl, if everybody could see it in the cam, I couldn't see it because the cam's over here. She ran up, started like pulling it faster so I couldn't read it, and then she ran off, and I went around. I was like, there's nothing here. Like, is somebody pulling this?
What is going on?
I was like, it just moves on its own. So I come back, I pull it back down. She runs up and does it again. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it does turn on its own. And then I walk away, but the camera's like facing behind me so everybody can see that she's still behind there. But I'm like, oh, there was nobody behind there. It just does it on its own.
Everything. And like as she's walking away, the camera can see the girl still playing with it. And she doesn't know like on stream. So it's really funny because everyone else sees it. It's like, oh, I don't know, it's pretty funny.
You have your eyes on the back of your head.
Yeah, exactly.
I would love to see that clip.
Old Mortem just said he could post it in the chat if you permit him. But yeah, it was ridiculous. I'm like, and later the chat's telling me they're like, there was a little girl. I was like, no, there wasn't. And then I see the clip. I was like, oh my God, there really was. And then I figured it out because I walked back to the same thing later, and then I turned it and it didn't move. And I was like, oh my God. So I got totally trolled by this little girl of all things.
Oh my God, this clip has 30,000 views.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. It's on Reddit and like so many people have seen it. It's ridiculous.
That's perfect.
Oh my God, that's so. I just watched the end of that.
Did you ever finish that story, by the way?
No, I didn't.
You never know
I
now.
have no idea what happened. I was like, I can't read this.
Oh gosh. All right. Hunter, shout outs. What are you up to?
Yep, hey, I'm doing mystery projects right now, and everybody's going to find out later. You can find me at twitch.tv/thehunterwild, on Twitter at thehunterwildtv. It's got the TV at the end because sometimes Mom puts me up on the TV even though my parents aren't allowed to watch me stream. Oh, and I almost forgot, I'm the co-owner of StreamerSquare alongside this amazing, brilliant, and beautiful broadcaster, Loco. Loco, what are you doing? Who are you? What are you up to?
I am at twitch.tv/LOWCO. I am currently playing some Anno, and I think I might actually check out the Mortal Kombat story tomorrow before I head off to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital for the summit. So I'll actually be gone after Tuesday. But yeah, I play pretty much everything, variety streamer. And looking forward to Days Gone later this month.
Yes.
I hope that's good.
By the way, your clips for Sekiro. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I actually just completed Sekiro.
Oh, nice.
I actually beat Sekiro.
Not gonna play hardcore. Not gonna play like the hardest mode now.
There's only one mode. Good luck.
Oh, is there?
Loco.
Okay.
Hold on a second. So you beat the 4-phase boss at the end, right?
Yeah, I've heard that there's another thing.
Yeah.
There's some
different endings.
There are things.
But I'm done. The credits rolled. The game ended.
Okay, you're done. Okay.
I'll be back one day.
That's how I felt because I played Resident Evil, the new remake. I played the hardcore mode, and I was like, "Holy crap! This was the hardest thing." And when I beat it, I was like, "Yes, done. Never touching it.
Putting it away."
Yeah.
But that was really cool. I just loved your reactions to it. It was great, both those clips.
Thank you. But yeah, so if you guys enjoy this content, we do shows every single week here on StreamerSquare. So definitely follow us if you want to see more streaming related stuff. And you can check us out on YouTube, Twitter, our website. We're basically StreamerSquare everywhere. And we have a Discord that's open to everybody. So if you guys need help, you have questions about streaming, or you just want to network, definitely check out the Discord because it's open to everybody and it's free. And last but not least, if you guys enjoy the show, we do have behind the scenes content on our Patreon every single week. So if you want to see what we talk about before and after this show every week, definitely check out the Patreon. It's $5 a month. It's literally a Twitch sub, and you support us making more content for you guys to help you guys get better at streaming. So thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate it, guys. Until next time, this has been the Stream Scene, and we'll see you next Monday.